been 2 weeks of scolding though. I have to wait till she goes off in the bedroom before I can sneak off in the kitchen.
15 cans, you don't know which
Don't
one
touch,
to
you don't
last.
know which one to get in.
Yeah, I got scolded when I got home today because one of them didn't open, and I said, well, I hadn't even touched that one. I don't know what happened to it.
Somebody did.
The well for running around.
Yep.
Yeah. I guarantee you it was a little elf.
All right. Let's go ahead and get started, and if you would, Don, would you?
We're thanking them for this time when we can come and conduct city's business. Keep us mindful in our hearts, dear Lord, about being the reason for the season, and that's your precious birth here on earth. Salvation that you give each and every one of us when we accept you as our Lord and Savior. Thank you for the Bible. Thank you for these members here tonight, Lord, that we'll bring honor and glory through this meeting, even for your name. Be with us now as we develop the thoughts and plans, and we ask that you bless us in a special way and let us all be in accordance with your will. Thank you for the food that's going to be participated in, the ones that prepared it. Let's bring a good, helpful meeting here tonight, conduct ourselves in a Christ-like manner. And I appreciate everybody here under the sound of my voice. Amen.
Amen.
Get up.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go ahead and have a roll call.
roll call of Myrtle Van Fleet. Present. Eugene Pilot.
Present.
I didn't start with Mayor first. Mayor Self.
Here.
Brenda Lowe.
Present.
Floyd Philpott. Steve Brewer.
I'm here.
Everyone's present and accounted for, Mayor.
All right. Once again, I'd like to welcome all of you for coming, and I'm glad you're here, because this is your business meeting. We're here to take care of the business for you. Yeah, I want you to be aware of everything that we do. This is open to anyone that wishes to attend. So, and we've already got the cell phones turned on. All right. Reading of minutes from previous meetings.
Okay. And there was one other thing on the agenda, was that we will open for public comments after the council completes its agenda. Okay. November the 12th, 2012. Call to order. Mayor Arthur Self called to order the regular meeting of the council at 7 p.m. on November the 12th, 2012 in the town hall. The invocation was given by Don Hagel. The Pledge of Allegiance to our flag was given. The clerk conducted a roll call. The following persons were present: Mayor Arthur Self, Councilors Myrtle Van Fleck, Eugene Hiley, Brenda Lowe, Floyd Philpott, Steve Brewer. The clerk read the minutes from the last meeting. The minutes were approved as read. Open issues. The mayor administered the oath of office to Mrs. Brenda Lowe, place number 3, as she was absent at meeting of November the 5th, 2012. Business. The annual financial for the year-end financial statement for the year end 9/30 of 2012 was presented to the council. A motion was made and seconded to accept the financial report. Motion carried. A motion was made to appoint Brenda Philpott as the town clerk at $400 per month. Motion made by Brenda Lowe, seconded by Myrtle Van Fleet. Motion carried. Floyd Philpott made a motion and seconded by Eugene Kiley to keep the bank accounts the same, since we have direct deposits going into the accounts. Motion carried. A motion was made to appoint Jason Ledlow as our town electrical inspector to replace John Mullerhill. Motion carried. The clerk phoned Jason to ask if he wanted the position. He agreed, and he thanked us and said he used to be the town inspector. a discussion about the town's police cars, the discussion on whether to try to repair or to sell for scrap was tabled because of not having titles to the vehicles. The meeting was open for public discussion. Several asked about stopping the dump and rescinding the application. We are checking what could be done at this time. Councilor Eugene Tiley made a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:30 p.m. Minutes submitted by Brenda Philpott, clerk.
Any corrections? Do we have a motion to accept?
I'm making a motion to accept the meeting, minutes.
All in favor?
Steve and Brenda, that's who,
All in favor?
I think all of you have a financial in your folder.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is,
Let me,
you wanna go
Let me
ahead
go
and do
over
that?
this.
Yeah, the mayor will do that.
Yeah,
Just wanna make sure they have their copy with them, yeah.
first off, you'll notice on page 1 of the general fund, that'll be the first page of the financial staple together. This is town and county line, and then the general fund on the top right. Should be in the folder full. Yeah, this
It's this one.
is in the middle folder.
It's in your folder.
I'll look.
Okay.
It's in the mail folder.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
All right. Not a problem. I want to bring your attention to a balance correction dated 11/20/2012. The deposit of $843.85. That was a balance correction to balance the books for the first time ever on that computer.
Wow.
He's never reconciled, he had
It
never
never had
reconciled.
been reconciled. So I had to make a balance correction as a deposit. There was no missing expenditure, only deposits were missing. And I don't know why, but that balance adjustment was made so that the books would balance with what bank status we have today. So that going forward, there should be no necessity to make these corrections. And we should be able to balance the books month to month. You'll also find the same type of balance correction on the 4, 5, and 6 road account, and the 2 and 7 road account. Not as drastic of a adjustment as $302.18 for the 4, 5, and 6 account, and $242.31 for the 2 and 7 road account. The capital improvements fund balance at a balance of $69.65.
That's the one they wiped out, the capital improvement.
Anyway, as of today, all the books balanced, and the ending, as of the 30th of November, we had $4,160.09 in the general fund, $5,848.57 in the 4, 5, and 6 accounts, and a balance of $8,962.35 in the 2 and 7 road account. And as I said previously, the capital fund balance, capital improvements fund, has a balance of $69.65. The general fund is the one that we pay 90% of the bills with. The 2 and 7 account, we pay the street lights out of the 2 and 7 account. And capital improvements, well, we're not gonna pay much out of it for a while.
They paid for the park out of the capital improvements.
Well, they paid for various things from different accounts. The 4, 5, and 6 account, they spent money out of it for the road improvement to the park.
That's what those accounts are supposed to be for, is for roads and services and stuff, that's not gas.
Well, that's where we stand as far as the money goes with the financials.
You wanna tell them the balance and then tell them about what we owe for the insurance on them from them.
Well, I've got that,
Well, I have a question.
certainly,
This front page right here says county line,
yes, sir.
goes down to the balance of $4,165.
That's the general fund.
That's,
The general fund.
At
See
the
over on
top.
the right-hand side?
I followed you, but is that the one that we pay our bills out of? Or
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Just in back here, we don't pay no bills out of.
no.
Capital improvement fund would be for building improvements, building repairs, but we do not have,
We need money for that.
not right now, we don't.
But 4, 5, and 6 pays for the roads.
Road repairs, certain types of road repair, and the 2 and 7 account is again a road account that certain things can be paid out of, like street lights. That's what we pay for the street lights with, is the 2 and 7 account.
But that's also the road.
It's also a road account. But the 2 and 7 can be used for maintenance type road activities, road related activities, like street lights, trimming the road, cutting the grass on the roadside. That could be paid out of this account. We go,
Is that the one that go and get rid of these lights down here in front of Esther?
so that 2 and 7 account will be the one that pays for those new street lights.
These lights, well, we don't know
No.
where these are coming from.
Well, we know where
They're
these are
gonna be on
going.
the
They're
building.
on the town. That's a separate issue.
Okay, I'm just trying to know where the money's going from and how
Yeah.
it's coming from.
Our primary focus is going to be the general fund for the day-to-day operations.
I understand that.
And it's the one that we have the most concerns with at this point in time. Now, we can move on to these other sheets of paper I gave you. These are what I have tried to do is I went back through all the accounts, and I'm going to concentrate primarily on the general fund and trying to come up with a budget of our day-to-day expenses going forward. From now until the end of January, I'm going to ask the council to accept a delayed payment for their monthly dues or the pay. Brenda and I talked about her pay for the time being, and we're going to have to suspend payment to the council and the clerk until the end of January.
Get out. You can afford to get out.
Resign.
We need that $20 a month.
20 months. Yeah.
Right now, we need
Yeah.
that $20 a month.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry to say, our minimum expenses, if you look at the page 1 of 3, the essential expenses, we're going to rise about $350 a month, $352. When we pay everything that comes up on a month-to-month basis, our high monthly expense will be about $1,171. a month, or a low of 816. You know, taking into consideration cutting the grass is a routine that not every month we have to pay, but we have to allocate money for that. One of the little Easter eggs that we got after we got into office was the first month's electric bill for the town hall had an additional $68 a month tacked onto it for the spotlights around the park. They are non-metered lights, and it costs the town $68 a month for those lights. We are going to investigate see what our obligations are with the power company since they install them. How long we're going to be obligated for that. Or if we can find some way out from under it. But anyway, as it stands right now, our minimum expenses are going to be about $352 for the next 3 months. Those taking into consideration November, December, and January. All right. You go to page 2 of that group of papers. And I have some one-time expenses listed, and over in the essential expenses column, I've listed some that have to be paid. One of them being our post office box. It's $100 a year, but we have to pay a minimum of $50 to keep it active. Yep. The next, we don't have a mailbox.
Never has been one out there, because the town purchased it.
I don't know. There's 2 mailboxes over there, but I think one goes to Circle M and one goes to this trailer, so I didn't know.
There was a big black mailbox that was purchased for the town.
No, they investigated it, but they never purchased one. There may have been one out there at one time, but it hasn't been there for a couple of years.
They've
Several
been using the
years.
post office box.
But anyway, we've got our post office box, but we've still got to pay a minimum of $50 towards that. The next essential payment that we have to make is $2,957 for our insurance premium. And we did, the park is not costing us any additional money, and we are protected by state law due to if any injuries occur, there's a cap on how much we are liable for. And I did discuss that with the insurance agents at the orientation, and it was not necessary to take out any additional insurance. Our $2 million liability is sufficient. So we're protected in that instance. Anyway, that has to be paid. And then the $352 a month for November, December, and January. And based on, let's see, when I originally did this sheet, we only had $3,600 in the checking account, and I didn't know how we were going to pay bills because there was not enough money to pay the essentials and pay it. But thankfully, there came a check in the mail last weekend from the Sheriff's Department for $735 that got us over the hurdle. It'll get us through the end of January.
That was an answer to prayer.
Yes, it was.
We don't
But,
know why or how, but it got here, so we.
Paying all the bills, we should have about $370 by the end of January. And that will allow for any other unexpected items to come in. Okay. Any questions about page 1 or page 2?
I got some questions about this, under Alabama municipal insurance.
Yeah,
He was just talking about.
I understand it's $2,900 a year. It says $1,081.97 for expenses for November.
well, that was a maximum that we paid everything that we have obligations for. And the clerk's pay, it would have been $1,000 a month. But all we're paying is what's listed in the essential
I got you.
column.
I thank you, sir.
I was just trying to show what our normal expenses would be and what we're going to try to get by paid. Okay. And then finally, the last page is my attempt to come up with a annual budget. Based on the previous figures that on from page 1 of the monthly routine expenses, for 12 months, on the high end, we'd expect to spend $14,056 for the year. All right, and again, in that column, I have listed the high figures for municipal insurance. I entered in here an audit expense based on a past audit, and we're supposed to have one every year, not once every 4 years. And I've added an amount for us to set aside for the next election. They estimated this past election cost the town $5,000 all total, for the printing, the people, the rental of machines, all the other expenses was in an area of $5,000. So I propose to add to an annual budget of $1,250 a year to be set aside towards the next election. So we don't get caught by surprise. Other one-time expenses for the year would be the rental for the gas tank out back, Alabama code updates that we get. We got several boxes of them in the office. Every year we will be getting code updates. And that runs about anywhere from, I'd say, $80 to $120 a year, depending on the number of changes required to the code. Post office box is $100 a year. Regional Planning Commission of Greater Birmingham membership is $156. Our Alabama League of Municipalities memberships dues are, let's see, it was $411 this year. So those are some of the one-time expenses. So it comes down to a total as we stand today, and this is subject to change if I come across any more one-time expenses for the year that I have not found so far. On an average, I'm expecting our annual budget to be just under $21,000 for the year, and up to $22,000, $23,000 a year. Now I've got some fluff built into this with the additional money set aside for the audits and the election contributions, but I think that's a good budget to start with. That's what I expect to spend. Now we've got to look at what we expect to receive. And this is where it gets a little touchy. All right, I'll give you some figures for 2012, what we received for the different types of payments that we received. Into the general fund, our business license fees for 2012 was $17,174.70. And I'm projecting a revenue of 17. And that may be a little high. We may have to adjust it down depending on the response we get from our mail out for business license renewal. Permits for this year, we had $1,367.99, and I'm going to project $600 for 2013. The sheriff fee for serving court papers is that was a check that we got last weekend. It was unexpected. It's $735 for 6 months. So we're expecting to get about $1,500 for 2012. We received $1,518.17, and I'm projecting that it's going to be right at $1,500 again. And just general tax revenues into the general fund for 2012 was $1,715.19. And I'm projecting a little higher income from general taxes for this year. Hoping that the economy will pick up a little bit. But anyway, I'm projecting $1,750. For a total of projected revenue for the general fund is $20,850, which is short of what my budget is. But again, like I said, the budget has some items in there that I want to try to set aside money for, but if we don't have it, we don't have it. All right, the capital improvements fund. Expect, we do get a check from Alabama Trust Fund every year, and it goes into the capital improvements fund, and we're going to project about $3,200 from the trust fund, so that should we have any more roof leaks, we'll have some money later, and that should come in April or May. So, the 2 and 7 road accounts, on an average, we get $337 a month into that account from various sources, Jefferson County, State of Alabama, Black County. And out of that account, we do spend the $253.99 for street lights. So, at least we have more money coming in that's going out on that account today. And we're projecting that the average is going to stay right around $333 a month. And the last one, the 4, 5, and 6 account, on average we get about $142 for 2012. $142.92, and projected that one a little bit lower at $91 a month as income. Yeah. May take a while to digest all of this, but it's taking a while to put it together. Any questions?
I have no questions, but I have last election, they sent Alabama Power out to take the light out of my street light at my house. So when it's possible, could we call Alabama Power and have that come back on? And also, we have a fire hydrant down our road that was put in by several of the people that live there. And we're paying the monthly payment on it. So when the town gets situated
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because there was another item that, on water hydrants. We are going to probably increase our water hydrant bill. I don't know how much it's going to increase, based on the number of fire hydrants we currently have. But I recently found out that, the fire hydrants in Green Acres are not on the water bill. They're still being paid for by van.
The water.
Water
Fire
hydrants.
hydrants
Yeah.
too? What are the lights for?
Well, I was thinking fire hydrants for it too, but we're gonna find out,
We'll find that out, because we need to check on it.
that, and the street lights.
The street lights, I found out that Dan has been paying, they would not put our street lights in Green Acres on. And Dan's been paying for them for the 6 years that we've been having.
Anyway, that is part of the town of County Line, and it should be included, not just put out a little out there, but that's the right thing to
We
do.
can't, shouldn't do that.
Well, what if something happens to van? We're not gonna have no street lights in.
That's right.
I don't know, 'cause I guess they're going, it must be billed through Circle M, I don't know that yet, but we do know that they, and as far as the street light, he tried to get a street light. What they've done
So
is that
we'll discuss that later.
yeah,
But anyway, we do have some items that we do need to discuss, once we get some additional information.
right.
On adding some streetlights and possibly even fire hydrants to the town's bills that the town should be paying for. But yes, that will certainly, we'll look at that.
So your street light was just cut off, right?
Alabama Power came out and I guess they cut it off. I don't know what they did, but right after the election, Alabama Power came out and did something and my street light didn't work anymore. So I'm sure they called and had it turned off.
You'll get it back.
Well,
Well, we'll check on all of that.
okay. Well, let's get back to the financials right now. Any questions on the proposed budget or the financial reports?
The mayor has worked really, really hard on trying to get all this together, because it has been like a scavenger hunt in here to try to find anything. So he's done an excellent job of taking care of all this.
I do have one question. I know you've been busy putting all this together, but I know Blount County gets alcohol taxes when they wasn't selling alcohol.
Yeah.
So, as being part of Blount County, did we get any of that, or?
Sure we do.
We don't get anything from Blount County, as far as, the share of the alcohol, taxes that they get from, Alabama Beverage Control. But we do get some beer and liquor, tax money from Jefferson County. Just like, the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, service fee that, we got that check for last weekend. We get it from Jefferson County, but we don't from Blount County. I don't know whether Blount County, charges the same thing, or they, dealing with two different counties is cumbersome at best, but Jefferson County may be operating under a different law than what Blount County is. And the revenue sharing of it, alcohol tax money in Blount County, it goes to the commission, but I don't think the commission shares with the communities.
Well, I'm like, Steve, I was wondering if that wouldn't come through the state of Alabama, but, from the taxes for the alcohol, it would come through. Like we get some of it, like we get tobacco and all of that from West Jefferson County.
I don't think that, Blount County, as far as being in Blount County, that we're gonna get anything in addition. Other than the little bit of tax money that we do get from Jefferson County. Yep. All right. Do we have a motion to accept the finance?
I'll make the motion. Well, you make it, I'll second it.
All right.
You did, wait a minute, who made the motion? Did you make the motion? Okay.
Boyd second.
Boyd second.
All in favor? That took longer than I wanted it to, but there's a lot in that, few pages. Okay, now, we talked briefly last time about forming committees. And we still do need to establish at least one or two committees to carry on any special projects that we come up with. The three that, the minimum that I think we should add would be the finance, parking, recreation, streets, and lighting. And we could also have a committee for grants and capital improvements. But I think as far as capital improvements go, I think we can postpone that one for a little while. Grants, we probably do need to put a committee together to start researching grants to see what's available. But first off, the finance committee is one that I am going to chair, but I'd like to have a couple of volunteers who, I'd like to assign at least 3 people to each committee, a chair and 2.
I'll volunteer if you're
All right.
there. I'll try.
All right. Okay. So the finance will be myself, Lloyd, Eugene. Park and Recreation. I would like to nominate Myrtle as the chair for that, for Park and Recreation. I know you've had some ideas about senior get-togethers and things like that.
Oh, we don't include that part down there.
Well,
Technically.
technically it does fall, but I mean, I would like to see you primarily for the recreation. And do you have any volunteers to work with Myrtle on that?
Myrtle, Brenda, and
Steve? All right, would anybody like to volunteer to chair of streets and lighting?
Yeah, I'll go on that.
What do you have to do as far as streets and?
Well, committees are going to be primarily responsible for doing any research for, say somebody reports a problem with a drainage for streets and lighting. Lights out at your place. Streets and lighting would be the group that would investigate whether or not the street light is supposed to be on or not. What we can do to expand or turn off street lights that we don't need. Just to handle any investigative work that might be required related to streets and or lighting.
I'll go in this evening on that.
Okay. you?
at the moment,
Okay.
since you volunteered.
That much wisdom.
Well, you're the one that needs a street light turned on, so you can, Jack, you can get the chairman out.
You gonna be on that committee? Good for you.
Allowed to be turned on.
The committees are gonna take some of the, instead of Brenda and I having to do everything, it'd be, just take some of the workload off and distribute it a little bit. And making calls, that type of thing. Making a call is simple, but when you're making 30 calls, it's hard to find time to do it.
Well, Mr. Mayor, the last 3 streetlights that were put in down the road, they're 65, 64, and 63.
Yeah.
I done checked.
I did too, 63, 64, 65.
Yeah.
I know the numbers on them.
Okay.
All right,
But we still need, never mind.
Mr.
No
Mayor,
street lights that's on here.
I know this is inappropriate, okay? We're talking about street lights. We got 2 right there at the house, you notice? I pay for one and the city pays for one. And they can cut that one off for a while there on that next to mine. Cause I pay for one every month anyway, been that longer than Sue is old. But I'm sorry to interrupt, but, if y'all see that y'all need to cut it off for a while, cause we have one there anyway.
well, I mean, that's the type of thing that we need to identify and so that we can, take the appropriate action.
I apologize for disturbing you.
That's all right.
Fine.
You done good.
Fine. I appreciate the input. All right, one last committee, we're gonna table this committee for a while on grants.
I wanna be on that.
Grants is very hard for me to read. I looked them up one day and just read through them. And, there's terminology on there that, it don't meet my standards.
I
They just
understand.
writing a grant, it's all the other
It's
stuff.
all the other,
Oh,
well,
it's bad.
you look at one grant, the way I looked at it, you look at one grant, but it goes beyond what that grant, what the label on the grant says, so it gets in deeper.
Well, trying to find a grant for a specific purpose is hard.
Yeah.
They have, from what I understand, is the government has taken all grants and put them on one website for every government agency out there. It's all on one website. You gotta weed through that. But I'm gonna go ahead and table the grants committee for the time being. We've got other things that we need to address before we really get into trying to get grants of any kind. Okay. All right.
And we didn't put anything on capital improvements because we don't really need it.
No, we're just going to, again, that's sometime in the future when we have a budget to do something or we need something, then we'll come back to that. We have no special committees, no reports for special committees, no reports of officers. Do we have any communications or petitions?
Ma'am, you speak?
No, we don't have any
Okay.
petitions, applications, complaints, or bills, we have no communication.
I think you should speak.
All right.
I think you should speak.
People don't hear that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm listening to the mayor and then I'm reading too, so I forgot where I was. I'm reading ahead of him, sorry.
Yeah, we've already discussed our budget, and doing the financials, so that's taken care of. The last item I have is to, just make the community aware that Dallas Sellersville Fire Department, is having to upgrade their radio systems for their sirens, the early warning sirens, because of the FCC narrow banding mandate. So they're trying to raise money to pay for those changes or those upgrades. And they're selling raffle tickets. Now, I wish I had more information about it, but Bobby just, I talked to Bobby Schroes, passed this information on to me. But they are going to be selling raffle tickets to try to raise money. So if you go to vote tomorrow, sitting down at Selfville, you might ask.
That's something we all need, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't affect our siren that was just put in because it's fairly new equipment. But these, I understand these are over close to the fire station and on Lehigh Road. But anyway, the signal from EMA comes out to the tower and siren, and it will set it off. But EMA has no idea whether or not it's running because the radio does not communicate back. What they're trying to upgrade. Anyway, that was the last item I had on my agenda. Anybody on the council have any other? Okay, I'd like to open it up to the floor to comments this time.
Mr. Mayor, his brother, Rock Twain, is knowledgeable in that field. We might want to, petition his services.
I intend to talk to Susan.
Mr. Cecil has that knowledge.
Yes, I've already been made aware of that, and I will be, when we get into that frame of mind, then we will certainly be talking to him to enlist his help wherever he can. Yes, sir.
The last meeting, I know you said something was said about the sheriff that said, election day. Has he got paid yet?
No, don't.
We don't have any.
No,
No, he has not.
We didn't get the money from Pistol.
Well, I thought something was said about getting the money, what's his name, still treasurer?
Pistol, yeah, Brian.
Yeah, getting the money from him. And I volunteer, I'll take it up, you give me the sheriff's name and I'll look him up and take the money to him.
I thought he came down here and wrote him a check.
no.
No, that's right, he had left.
Larry
Yeah,
told
Larry Long.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's right, he did, yeah.
Larry threatened his job.
Can't you write the check to
No, can't write the
Can't
check.
write a check to
If you give me the money and give me his name, I'll look him
Write
up.
it to
I'll
Lou.
let him
So
pay.
you write him cash, or you
Yeah.
write,
Just give him cash.
Okay, now wait just a minute, we have to give the deputy cash for coming down here for the election, right?
I really don't know if he'll take it.
Well, I mean, we'll give it to him, I'll see that he gets it, I'll see that he takes it. If he don't, I'll bring it back.
Christmas time, definitely use it.
But I think he ought to be paid, I mean,
I agree
Well,
with
do
you.
you
we
think
might be asking somebody else to do something again someday, and
Or him, and he'll
Well,
say,
can we
I'm
just
No.
take up some money if anybody wants to throw money in the hat to pay him or what? I don't know about
Well,
what
his
it
problem
would
was taking it from the no dump.
Huh?
His problem was taking it from the no dump organization.
Well, we're not doing it in the name of the no dump.
Well, if we give him cash,
citizens.
just
it's just.
Why did he
cash
have a
and
problem with that?
give me his name and I'll
Larry
bring
told
it
him
back.
that he would get his job for that. And I think he's tried.
Larry tried to get
Calvin,
him
yes.
fired.
Yes.
Because he was siding with the no dump people, right? Or whatever, taking it from there.
All he was is to be our counter. That's all he was supposed to do. And Larry went out there toward the end. Who was with me, Maple?
I was.
And Larry ran out there and jumped on him, and before I could get up there, that guy was gone. I didn't know Larry had jumped on him, but he got
Do
him.
you know who he was, what his name is?
So help me God, I can't remember it.
You got to
We'll
know.
find
Police
out.
officer, didn't, isn't
that the one that you called and asked to be?
I know the guy, he'll tell me his name. And I can find that out, but he's not gonna take money from the no-no, cause it's his job, and he'd rather have his job, Harmon and the sheriff are very, very close friends.
Well,
In
we
fact,
can, ask him to come and, provide security for a town hall meeting.
I don't know if the sheriff, he's scared to
That's
death.
right.
Well,
He's already been threatened, he's not gonna.
they got a problem at the sheriff's department. Some of these deputies like going out working on the side, and they're not doing nothing illegal because they all do it, but the sheriff is not liking that. In other words, he's not getting his cut out of it.
There's only 12 deputies in the county of Blunt. There's only 12 road deputies for 850 square miles. So,
Well,
Well-
Mr. Mayor, I got a question, and we all be involved, I'm talking about Dallas Selfer comes around every year, collects 5 years, right? Okay. 4 nights out of 7 or 5 nights, they make a run down there above the house
yes,
to Jones Trailer Park. Now,
yes.
they gonna call names, I mean, I don't care. Okay. Now then, they charge me and you X amount a year, right? But why can't the city say, and it will affect me and Sue, cause I rent a trailer and I rent a house. And I pay 5 years on both of them, cause that might save somebody's life. And I think Sue will see it the same way. But them people run down that, they done that twice today, and it rained in the storm. This morning, by 6 o'clock, they're down there. This afternoon, at 4 o'clock, they're down there. All because of drugs and alcohol.
On
Okay.
Coffeyville, I mean, on Deansbury Road?
Yeah. Yeah. So they started and asked me with the box number. They pulled up in my driveway looking for the box number. But my question is,
Somebody's in there.
I'll get it in a minute.
my question is, Mr. Mayor, are there any kind of ordinance y'all can pass for every resident in the town has to pay 5 years? Now, you say, what does the town get out of it? Well, may not be nothing right now, but like right now, Blount County Water Works is taking on $5 to everybody's water bill that has Blount County water. And that $5 goes to the fire department they are serving in Blount County, like Mount High Fire Department, West Blount Fire Department. You know, I just wondered, you know, I asked Joan not too long ago, I said, who paying the fire dues? She said, that's none of your business. So,
You mean for the trailer parks,
yeah,
to charge fire dues?
yeah, for every resident.
You have to do it for every resident. You can't do it just for signal them out.
Right,
It'd have to be across the board
Right.
because that'd be
But
profiling.
I think most people
Every
do pay
number
fire
size.
dues.
If you're gonna do it, you have to be to every household, you know, so.
Does everybody not pay the?
Well, it should be every household. no
Well,
matter
there's,
how many
I know
trailers.
that,
never trailer don't pay them.
We pay it, we don't, every time.
We have to pay our fire dues.
That's what I'm
at our
saying, we
house.
pay it.
Everybody in our neighborhood
And
pays
then
fire
they come
dues.
back collecting $40 more in 2 months.
Do you pay the Dallas stuff?
Yes, we do. They come
We
to
pay
bring
fire
back.
dues and then we do contributions every year, so
And
we
then
always.
she came back recently and did for this radio.
The radio
But
thing.
I missed that,
And we
so.
got another, we did another donation.
Another question, like this garbage service that, like about 2 companies come into CountyLine. Why can't the city narrow that down to one company and let the people come and pay the city and let the city get a percentage out of it?
well, that, you know, now that you have mentioned that, I've already been considering trying to do
We
something
both on the
like
same page?
that. The guy I know, Locust Fork, had their own contract
Mm.
for garbage pickup. And about doing that. But there should not, the town should be able to negotiate a contract for garbage pickup.
They should be paying you, you should be getting checks from them for licenses.
Because they're doing business in your town.
Yeah,
Them and Charter Cable, have you seen a
yeah,
Charter?
I've started going through the business license folders, to generate a mailing list for, license
Business
renewal.
license.
Well, what happened there is that Trafford had the post office, and a lot of these checks and these usage checks, because they would go to 35172 when it went to Trafford, but we shared their zip code. So now with all, but that would do some looking into that. Trafford gets a lot of our monies that they're supposed to share, and they've done it for years because they just send it to one zip code. Are you with me?
Mhm.
So these businesses need to be made aware of that.
Well, since we don't have our own zip code, well, what makes us separate, I think, is that 8781 that you add to the end of your zip code.
I don't
On
know.
my zip code, it has 8781 at the end of it. Does yours?
Mhm.
That's county line.
That's the
Okay.
4 digits.
That's
after the
it.
chips.
Kind of plus four.
As county
Now,
line.
that's gonna be, that's different for every house.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
the plus four is, different for every house.
Does yours, look at your zip code on your network.
Yeah, mine don't have it.
Mine
I
don't.
don't think
Ours,
ours is.
well, you get some bills that'll have it.
And some don't.
It's,
Ours is 8787.
Well, mine might be 8787. I thought it was 8781. I heard it on there. But 87 something.
Well, no, it'll be different for every house. Anyway,
It is, it's different for the post office box, so that's what it is.
we'll have to check on the ordinance for, requiring fire dues. And if you do something, like Sue said, it will have to be for every domicile, every business within our town limits, and probably we could even extend it out into the police jurisdiction. to require-
But how would you enforce it? How are you gonna enforce it?
Either pay it or you cast you do a
Or
thing. I mean,
pay it or be billed for every trip. I think that's how some of the smaller units
That's
are
what's
doing. If you don't pay your dues
Why are they gonna pay for every trip if they don't pay their?
and they show up, then they get a bill for it.
You see, I don't know if, since it's voluntary, that they can do that.
yeah.
yeah, they can.
They can,
Yeah.
because of the expenses, there's still expenses involved, even for a volunteer force. The trucks, maintenance,
It's so much
gasoline,
cheaper to pay
diesel.
the dues.
Yeah,
Centerpoint, when we lived in Centerpoint 30 years ago, we'd send you a letter saying, if you don't pay, we're not coming.
That's right. My sister-in-law works up there at the fire station.
Yeah.
If they don't pay, they don't go. And they set up payment plans and the whole 9 yards for them.
Yeah.
Another question for y'all.
there might be some method of enforcing it or enforcing payment, but I don't know what that mechanism would be at this point.
You know, there's a junkyard, you drive by it every time you go to Warrior. It's always been a sore thumb in CountyLine. It's CountyLine city limits out there. Why can't somebody force him to clean that mess up or put a privacy fence up?
And or collect business licenses.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna ask you that next, buddy, thank you.
Yeah, that's
But-
what I was.
You know, I know for the fact there's all kind of oil dumped there. Sue got the blame for something happened not too long ago. But bless her heart, she gets the blame for everything.
What did I get blamed for?
She
Did I miss
does.
this?
You know,
You must have spelled small.
Oh, okay.
when y'all neighborhood is clean, I try to keep mine halfway clean. And if we keep our city clean, people have a better desire to come in and build and
That's right.
whatever. and he ain't never been made to clean it up. And I think it's time that somebody put the brake shoes on it and say, hey, look, clean the junkyard up or put a privacy fence up.
I think,
One of the things, I've been looking at that, and I know we have one map that shows that property is being in the town, in county line. But if you look at the map that's on the board back there, there's not. And other maps I look at, it shows that piece of property is in Trafford. But I talked to the new mayor at Trafford, and he's under the impression that it's in county line.
I think,
So we've got to find out when it was annexed in, and show it on the map. And we're gonna have to do some more digging, just like we had to do with the trailer park annexation. We finally forced them to do something about that. Now it's up to us to find that missing annexation documentation.
So, Mr. Mayor, I would like to see the ordinance myself, just like we're talking about for the town. We've got one right here behind the county, the town hall that's,
Now, we already have ordinances in place for zoning. And as a residential zoning, as a residential zoned piece of property. So now we've got to probably end up having to call the sheriff to enforce the zoning law. So we've got to clean it up.
Well, what about all them toilets back in there?
I think that is out of the town limits.
Is it?
Back behind here,
Yeah.
like back at Greg's.
It's out of the limits, out of town limits.
I'd like to say something about the property he's talking about down in Trafford down there, that it belongs to county line. I think it's time that we shove them out and they belong to Trafford, and they don't belong to this town no more. Because I don't think it needs to be here no more, it's sitting down there in the middle of Trafford. And it needs to be gone, that's what I think.
I know that the mayor in Crawford wants it cleaned up too.
Well, the new mayor down there should, maybe he can get it cleaned up.
Well, but he's saying that it's county line.
County
We
line.
did.
He's being told it's in county line, but our maps, doesn't show us being in
Well,
county.
that's like you said, that's something for research right there.
So we need to take it out and dump it out there and let's throw it again on.
May God bless you.
We have to determine who, which town that piece of land is actually in. And then we'll take action.
Well, he's got the land over here that he has all the junk, and now he's taking the house across the road with the junk equipment.
That's not a county line, is it?
But I don't think that's
The
county
house
line.
across the road is in traffic. When I was cutting right away, one side of that road right there is in county line. You know, that's what we'll call it right now. The other side is traffic.
Right, and does he own the house
He
there?
bought that other house.
That's what I thought. So he's got equipment on both sides of the road.
Yep.
The rusted out, wore out equipment.
I think you need to put up fence around the whole damn thing.
Well, he's
It's an
got it up
eyesore.
here,
It's an eyesore.
and up
Yeah.
here behind
And that-
up on the hill.
And again, go back to our map, there's one little square,
That's
you've
his.
got an island out there that is not in the town limits. And that's what's sitting up there on the hill.
Up on the hill.
Mayor,
That
where
one.
he has the stuff up here on the old wall diamond, is that not in the town?
There's a square back there that is not.
Well, what I'm hearing is that's where he's gonna move his junk. That's where it's coming. So that's FYI, whatever.
We just have to get some money together and put up the doggone tall fence up there.
Well, we'll have, it requires some more research.
Are you saying that there's a ballpark up there on that
Used to
hill up
be.
behind the school?
Used to be.
And
Where
that's,
Trafford School was, that got
That's where
burned,
the
they
old
turned into a
Trafford School
ballpark. It's flat.
okay, and Van owns this, but then Herman owns a piece of it up there, right?
Yes, ma'am, yeah, I think it's about 38 acres back there he owns.
Herman owns 38 acres?
I think so.
And there's a
Well, you
public
can look
road
at that
goes
map,
back there too.
it's on the wall back there, and, you can see a little bitty square that is, an island surrounded by town limits. There's that one little section that, dips down, the old schoolhouse.
I can't even find where we are, buddy.
On the left-hand side, the square that dipped down below.
There's a church.
Talking about right here, buddy.
Right
Yeah.
here.
got a magnifying
Philip Calvert, okay, yeah. And there's a little square out, looks to be about maybe 5 acres.
Yeah, I believe that's where it jumps in. So, anyway. All right, any other comments or questions? We'll go ahead and get this wrapped up. We got some things to, we still have things to investigate and learn about, but, I think we're all on the right.
He didn't annex that in,
Just forgive.
Yeah.
that little bit, he didn't annex it.
That's not in.
Yeah, he did the whole 40, but he pulled that little.
Little square out. Yep. All right, no other comments from the floor? No?
I'd like to thank Dan again for I know he likes to be the unsung hero, and he certainly is, for fixing our roof, and I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. He's platinum.
Thank you again.
Good neighbor.
I mean, he saved our lives on it, because it was just a pure flood last time it rained.
Thank you again. And by the way, did you get the paper back?
Yes,
Okay,
all those comments I just accepted.
okay.
And I was hoping he would want to annex into the town-county line, because we need him in here.
That's a discussion for another time.
Another time, okay.
But certainly appreciate everything Dan's done. Paper was wonderful for those of you, if you read it, on the position papers for the dump. It was submitted to Warren Smith to Auburn Solid Waste Study. Dan did the majority of the writing on that, did a wonderful job. I just added a couple of comments. But anyway, if no one else has any comments or questions, then do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make the motion.
All in favor? All right.
Meeting's adjourned.